I now hand the conference over to Mr. Parth Adhiya from Batlivala & Karani Securities. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Adhiya.
Thank you, Nirav. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizer and Chemicals General Business Update call. We thank the management for giving us the opportunity to host the call and look forward to more such interaction in the future. Today, we have with us Mr. D.V. Parikh, General Manager and CFO of the company, Mr. Y.N. Patel, he's the General Manager of Operations, and Mr. A.C. Shah, General Manager and Company Secretary, along with other senior members from the management. I would now like to hand over the call to Mr. D.V. Parikh for his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, D.V. Parikh, General Manager and CFO of the company. On behalf of GNFC, a warm welcome to all the participants on this call of business update. Since quarter 3 has already passed, we are providing a general business update, while we'll cover some of the glimpses of year to date as well as quarter 3 as well on this call. Like as you know, we started off the year with a situation of lockdown practically across the country. And this lockdown has a forced shutdown impact when we started the financial year FY21. So practically for the whole month of April, the production was under the shutdown mode. And we lost around 11% of the total annual production in the process, which has an impact on the sales volume as such. Sales volume have been impacted little lower because with the opening up of different downstream sector, we could unload the opening stock, which was a carryover stock, and hence there is a net impact of around 6% in volume terms as far as sales are concerned. So with opening up of the sector, however, the realizations have been quite better, especially when imports of certain chemicals have been impacted severely. Although in case of fertilizer, imports have been more. In case of chemical, they have been impacted, which gave us an opportunity for better realization, especially over quarter 2 and quarter 3. If we look at the production down from quarter 1 to quarter 2 to quarter 3, gradually the production levels have been ramped up. And certain products which were hitherto under a kind of like forced shutdown sort of a thing due to demand scenario, mainly methanol and aniline, have come up quite well in quarter 3. So with this, on a YTD basis, our profits are, PBT are at 498 crores, which is practically higher than 424 crore of last year. And that too, last year there was a one-time write-back of the accumulated subsidy, which adjusted for the year, it was around 160 crores, totaling to 191 crore. But if we factor the subsidy of 31 crore for the financial year, which were anyway accruable there was a net accrual of 160 crore during last year. So profitability has improved substantially on a YTD basis. When we talk of quarter 3 in particular, on a QOQ basis, the sales are up by 27%, mainly led by volume as well as price realizations. And there is a substantial improvement in the operating EBITDA margin by 50%. If we look at EBITDA margin, operating EBITDA margin, it has gone up by 50%. So that is reflected in the PAT as well. However, since now the company is not under MAT but under a regular taxation, the PAT margins is improved by 33% at 240 crores, as against the PBT of 337 crores. If you look at line item level within the P&L, there are two significant items where we would like to draw the attention. One is the other expenses which went up because of the certain provisioning of bad debts, as well as CSR provisioning which became mandatory. And there is another item called catalysts and chemicals where sharp recovery in prices, the sharp increase in prices rather has impacted the company. Second item is that of the income tax, where, as I said, the rate has almost doubled from around 17% to 34+%, mainly because of the company coming under the regular taxation regime effective this year. So this is by and large sum and substance of what we have to cover in terms of like operations, production side and finance side. So now I leave the session open to question and answer to the participant.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and one. The first question is from the line of Rahul Veera from Bacchus Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So just wanted to understand in terms of your chemical division, our usual revenues are close to 3,000 crores in FY22, 2,800 crores to be specific. Can you give the split of that chemical division between TDI, formic acid, and aniline and other chemicals? Largely top 3-4 chemicals.
Okay. On a YTD basis, if you look at the total turnover, it is mainly led by the TDI. I will give you the rounded figures of around 550 crores. As far as acetic acid, ethyl acetate is concerned, they are ranging between 200 to 250 crores in terms of the turnover. So formic acid is like we operate on a very low scale of around 65 metric ton a day, so that is not so significant. The other significant item is the technical grade urea, which is about 300 crore rupees.
Okay. So for a 9-month basis, sir, our YTD, as you mentioned, is close to 2,100 crores. Our chemical division revenues.
Okay. If you look at, yes, YTD, yes, it is that way.
Okay, so we have just gotten, the summation comes to around 1,200 crores only, sir. So
rest has various, we have a product basket of around 12 chemicals. Okay. So the rest comprised of, and I will request our marketing person also, he will cover up the rest of the product if you are interested.
Sure, fair point, sir. And
so I have given you the rounded number. Please, I will request him to keep it rounded because exact sales on a product-wise basis is not a matter of public disclosure.
Sure, fair point, sir. And so just wanted to understand in terms of the visibility, like in terms of TDI pricing visibility, over the next 1 quarter, it's understandable because of the disruption going on globally. But what is your view largely? Do you think any import restrictions or anything could help the TDI prices to continue above 200, 220?
Okay. On prices, any prognosis is a little difficult. Okay. However, GNFC has been successful in getting the anti-dumping duty imposed effective December 20.
Right.
So, and these chemicals are like prices is nobody's base, and it is very difficult to say. But for a short term, I will request our marketing manager to respond on what is he expecting about.
Sure. Fair point, sir. Should I wait or I should revert in the queue?
Rahul, may I request you to speak a little louder?
Yeah, that's it from my end. I'll come back in the queue, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tanmay from Mirae Asset. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Sir, my first question would be, what would be the capacity utilization in the chemical segment? If you could give a blended number, that would be fine.
Okay. See, from the time we started around 3rd of May, TDI, that has started little later around mid of June. The rest of the plant started and we are at more than 100% capacity utilization in all except methanol. Because methanol we are not in a position to fully utilize the capacities because of the oil and gas prices at times. The rest of the products we are operating at more than 100% in all products.
Okay. Okay. And sir, in terms of looking at, we have a good import substitution story considering the product portfolio. So what would be sort of the CapEx plan towards down the line? Anything on that front?
We did not get your question. Can you please come again?
Yeah. So considering our product portfolio, it's mainly based on import substitution, the chemicals that we manufacture. So do we see any capex plans in particular products 2 or 3 years down the line, or how is it?
Yes, actually many companies, because of this kind of lockdown effect as well as no visibility of when the downstream will open up, put a hold on the capex. We sometime back envisaged a capex of around 1200 crore, and which is in the public domain as well. And we have formed up our plan to go ahead with substantially all the capex, which will come to around 1100 crore. And we'll be investing in the 3 product lines. Mainly acids is the area of focus, and then there is some debottlenecking of ammonia, which will contribute to the extent of around 50,000 metric tons per annum.
Got it. And in terms of raw material, are we seeing any pricing pressure right now?
You see, the kind of realizations which we are witnessing on the chemical front, these are getting absorbed. But if you look at the 9-monthly basis, the tapered down raw material prices and feedstock prices have contributed significantly to the bottom line. In fact, there are 3 key components which contributed to the bottom line. As we know, the volumes have been hit to the extent of 11%, yet because of the price recovery, realization recovery, lower input cost, and third is a gain which we booked of around 44 crore on the PF investment against the loss of 50 crore we booked last year. These are the three predominant reasons which has improved the profitability.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Naresh Kataria from Moneycurve Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Parikh. Thanks for the opportunity. You had mentioned about the 1100 crore capex, mostly on acids. Are we looking to expand TDI as well? Because we are the sole manufacturer and TDI demand is, of course, much higher than what we produce. Are we looking to expand in TDI from the current 60,000-70,000 ton capacity?
Okay. See, there is a debottlenecking plan which will improve the capacity of TDI2 by around 30 metric ton per day. And there is further debottlenecking which is underway at TDI1 plant as well, for which once I complete, I'll request Mr. Vayan Patel to expound more on that. So if you look at our market positioning, the domestic market share which we have is to the tune of around 70-73%. So anyway, we have to export certain part of our total production. Therefore, this debottlenecking should help in achieving more turnover. And as you know, we have witnessed over the last 4 to 5 years the kind of volatility in the TDI prices. So we have no brownfield kind of an expansion plan on TDI. However, we do have some debottlenecking plan which will improve substantially the production levels as we currently have. The production level are likely to improve by around 30% or so overall, including TDI1. So TDI1 plan, I am requesting Mr. Vayan Patel to talk about.
Good afternoon, everybody. TDI1 is having capacity of daily production capacities around 55 to 56 metric tons, where we are trying to add add capacity of 20 metric ton per day. But it will take long time to materialize. It will take at least 2 years span right from now. So that is about TDI1. And then, as Mr. Parikh has said, 30 metric ton additional capacity, 30 MTD in TDI2. That will probably materialize after...
it should happen anytime in the next FY.
Right.
because the major debottlenecking which was concerning the equipment has already arrived. And we think that next financial year we should be in a position to reap the benefit of around 20% increase in the production as far as TDI 2 is concerned, which has a capacity of 150 metric ton per day.
Mm-hmm.
On a 330 basis, on a 300 basis, it is 165 metric ton per day.
Sure. This is very helpful and also very encouraging that we are growing TDI even if it is by debottlenecking. My last question is on, I think we had a joint venture with some Belgian company to absorb some waste finished product or of TDI, and I think that meant saving some money which we were paying to dispose of. I think it is some HCl or something. So any progress on that? Ecophos, I think, if I remember. Yeah, that was an Ecophos joint venture with a Belgian company. Can you please clarify on that?
That joint venture was to valorize the HCl, which is generated at TDI 2 plant, which is to the tune of 200,000 metric ton per annum. However, the company has gone bankrupt. Ecophos SA at Belgium has gone bankrupt. So there are no further plans about those, and we wrote off whatever was the investment to the tune of around 25 crore rupees last year.
And we continue to spend for disposal of the HCl, right?
Yes, we will continue to spend on the disposal, but so far this year, more or less, we have not spent on a net basis anything. There is some marginal positive side in terms of recoveries. So otherwise, on an average, we, depending upon the price, lifting, discounts and all, we lose about 25 to 30 crore as far as HCl lifting business is concerned.
Very good, sir. Thank you, and I'll join back.
We are working about finding ways and means to valorize the HCl, but as of now, it is difficult in near future.
Got it. Thank you so much. I will join back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dixit Doshi from Whitestone Financial Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. I have a question regarding our fertilizer business. So, just wanted to understand the subsidy matrix. So, I understand that if we sell through a POS machine, then the subsidy is paid through direct benefit transfer. And if it is sold through non-POS machine, then it's a monthly or a 2-month kind of a payment cycle. So if you can elaborate on that, how does the payment come?
Okay. See, under DBT, any company is eligible for subsidy only upon sales through the point of sale machine called POS sales. Hitherto, till the time DBT went operational somewhere around later part of 2018, 17-18 financial year. Now most of the companies are subjected to the same regime. So there is nothing like one can sell out of POS. Everybody has to sell through POS only. And therefore there is a working capital tied up. Now, so far working capital tied up till last year was in the region of around 6 to 7 months of total sales. Whereas this time, because of the special announcement by Government of India, additional 65,000 crore of subsidy was budgeted over and above the original budget of around 72,000 crore. So totaling up to around 139,000 crore. And fortunately, we have seen practically the disbursement coming also. So our subsidy outstanding have substantially reduced. And we expect to end the year with a substantially lower subsidy outstanding than ever witnessed in the history of the company.
So, how much we would have received till now, and what will be the pending currently?
Currently pending is around 300 crore, which normally remains to the tune of 900 to 950 crore. As on December, we had a subsidy outstanding of little above 900 crore rupees.
Okay. Now, second question regarding this. So I understand that this accumulation of almost 900 to 1,000 crore of subsidy was also due to the arrears of many years which got accumulated. But let's say now everybody is talking that this year, by end of the year, almost the arrears of the subsidy will be over, and from next year it will start from zero, let's say. So how do you see it going forward from next year? Will we get the subsidy payment within 1 month or 2 months of the due date? Or next year also we may get the full subsidy, but it will come mostly at the end of the year?
Okay. See, normally subsidy outstanding has a direct relationship with the budget of Government of India. So far the budget, like last year when the budget was done, it was 10% lower at 72,000 as against 79 to 80,000 crore rupees. So it all depends upon what is budgeted. Normal subsidy generation should increase now with the passage of time, because there are 5 more plants over next 3 years which are coming up. As we know, Sindri, Ramagundam, Talcher and 2 others. So, which will add up a capacity to the extent of 6.35 million tons per annum. So it all depends upon what is the budget government keeps. But with this kind of areas almost cleaned up, we see that subsidy should be issued regularly. Even otherwise under DBT, the provision is to release the subsidy every week. And it seems like the government has resolved to clear up this kind of overdues which has happened. So let us hope the best.
Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Doshi. I'll request you to come back in the question queue. A request to all the participants, please restrict to 2 questions per participant. If time permit, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. The next question is from the line of Sunil Singhania from Abacus. Please go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon. Congratulations on a great result. Sir, we had this advances for this Employee Provident Fund Trust. Because we were not able to, we had shifted the PF to the outside agency. What is the status there, sir? Have we received everything? We have been able to move every asset outside of the company's balance sheet?
Okay. Now we took over the investment to the tune of roughly 820 crore rupees when financial year started. And for that we took a special loan, short-term loan from a couple of banks to the extent of 600 crore rupees. As of today, the outstanding investment are to the extent of around 90 crore, rest are all sold off. The loan taken has been completely repaid also. So this is the status of the PF investment. And in terms of like losses which we booked last year around total 62 crore loss, out of which 50 crore was on capital account and 12 crore was towards the interest part. Out of the capital loss of 50 crore rupees, we have already recovered 44 crore rupees by now. So this is the status of investment taken over from Provident Fund Trust.
So we'll have another income this time of 44 crores because we had already taken the loss.
It is already there in the 9 monthly financials. Okay. Up to quarter 2 it was already reflecting, and thereafter there is marginal disposal only.
Right. Sir, one last question. Now, with the subsidies also being received and this also getting settled, what is the net cash balance we have now?
It will be over 1,000 crore. In fact, as of December, we were at a net 860 crore rupees. Okay.
Okay. And there is no plan of utilizing that as of now?
Like we said, there is a capex plan which will materialize because any capex will not happen over 1 year.
1 year,
it
right.
will take some time. So, and we have enough wherewithal in such times. So we may not have to fund our capex through any loan or something like that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Manvardhan Ved from Noral Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir. You're audible.
Congratulations on a great set of numbers, sir. So, my first question was again with regards to the fertilizer division. now, I mean, in terms of profitability, we lag our peers significantly in that particular division. So any plans as to how that division will become more remunerative? Hello?
Are you audible?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you.
You are talking about fertilizer, I believe, not chemical.
Yeah, fertilizer.
Okay. Fertilizer, if you look at the segment results are severely impacted because of three main reasons. One is in the mixed fertilizer, we have cost headwinds as well as the pricing pressure. Secondly, we lost the production and sales of 1 full month. So there are three reasons: cost escalation in terms of the input cost, price pressure, especially in case of mixed fertilizer, and third is the lost production. Fourth is marginal on energy norms. We are crossing the line beyond 6.20 up to December 20. So this is all contributed to fertilizer, but going forward, if we do regularly on an annualized basis, then we hope we should turn profitable. And in December quarter results, we also took a provision of around 14 crore on account of some retailer incentives. So that is why the profitability is down. Otherwise, we are hopeful of at least maintaining 20-25 crore of profit on an annual basis on the fertilizer front. And we don't have any plan of expansion on the fertilizer being a regulated market. And country has enough capacity which is coming up, which will bring down the import to its original level of 2015-16. So this is about all about fertilizer plan of the company.
Any plans of hiving off this division, since this is not a focus area for you anymore, and you are sitting on 2,500 crores of asset in this particular division, where the kind of sort of profits that you're generating is minuscule given the asset base. So won't it make sense to hive off this division?
We thought about this a couple of times in past, but we think the kind of contribution it gives, and ours is not a company which will ask certain infrastructure to be laid off, which will think in those terms. So we don't have any such plan of hiving off the division and selling to somebody else, number one. Number two, operationally also, because of the kind of integration we have, it is not possible to hive off and dealing with the fertilizer totally from the operations side.
So
sorry to interrupt you. I'll request you to come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sweksha Jain from ANS Wealth. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for giving this opportunity. So I have two questions. One was, so I believe our major chemicals are aniline, acetic acid, and TDI, right? Am I correct, sir?
Major chemicals are like, if we talk in terms of commercial sales, probably yes. If you talk in terms of capacities and including captive, then the scenario is different.
Okay.
I will request
in terms of revenue.
In terms of commercial sales, TDI comes first. Okay. And followed by other chemicals, it is led by acetic as well, ethyl as well. Okay, TGU as well. So exact sequence our marketing person will tell if you are interested to know.
So actually, I was interested in knowing the prices, the realization for the major top three chemicals for this quarter, and if you could give a comparison to what they were last year, same quarter, sir.
Okay. See, prices is something, realization is something which is a little confidential. So from finance side, we have inclination not to share such kind of numbers on realization.
Okay. And so my second question was actually a follow-up to a question that an earlier participant asked. So this is regarding your chemical business, sir. So now, fertilizer business. What we understand is with the DBT, most of the backlog of all the previous year would be, mostly cleared. So now, on a steady state basis, sir, I believe our receivables should substantially go down going forward. Is my understanding correct? If yes, then I believe that would impact our working capital to an extent. And if you could throw some sense as to, how much of impact this would have on our working capital requirement.
See, the overall receivables have already come down by 600 crores.
Right.
And we are like net non-utilizing company. So working capital has come down because of that by 600 crore rupees, but we are not drawing any money from external sources. So that is adding up to the cash which was erstwhile locked up into receivables.
So what I want to understand is, now on going forward, since the previous due is going to be cleared mostly, all the backlog is going to be removed. So on a going forward, on an annual basis, our working capital requirement will substantially go down, right, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So what kind of an impact would it have? Like, would it come down 20% to our current requirement?
Okay, normally along with the subsidy, our drawing power hovers around 1,200 crore rupees. So if you factor 500 to 600 crore of subsidy like this, it will bring down the drawing power by around 500 to 600 crore rupees.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That helps.
Thank you. A request to all the participants, please restrict to 2 questions per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. The next question is from the line of Nitin Gosar from Invesco. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon. One question, sir. You talked about capex requirement or the capex that you are going to incur around 1,100 crore spread over 3 products. I could catch the 2 names, that is ammonia debottleneck, and the second one is TDI related capex, which is 50 metric ton per day expansion over 2 facilities over next 2 years. Which was the third one, sir?
No, there is no capex within this 11 to 1,200 crore of TDI 1. Okay. This 1,100 crore capex is on acids and ammonia debottlenecking. Apart from that, we had last couple of years we had 150 crore which is almost expended on TDI 2 debottlenecking. So what we covered, like 30 metric ton per day minimum we should get from TDI 2 is after expending on certain capex of debottlenecking in the downstream.
Okay. Could you put some number to it, like how the 1,100 crore capex would be spread it broadly, the product wise?
Ammonia debottlenecking will have close to 200 crore rupees. Acid and nitrate business, ammonium nitrate business will pick up the rest of it. As long as acids are concerned, it will be close to 750 crore out of the balance. And rest is ammonium nitrate.
Got it. Right, sir. This was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Maheshwari from Skyridge Wealth Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, what I wanted to know was our chemical prices at realizations have spiked up considerably over last quarter, and they're still rising. So do we expect some kind of normalization to occur, in coming quarters, or it's expected to remain high for a particular time being?
I'll request our marketing people, senior marketing people to respond on this.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Abhishek.
Hi.
Prices have gone up, and it has gone up substantially, and some of the products have attained the ever highest prices nowadays. And we expect that from the ever highest level, it will come down to the normalcy actually. But in our expectation, all the products will discover the new normal. Like in COVID situation, we have discovered so many new normals. The prices of the products will also discover new normals.
Okay.
So it will attain normalcy, but at a higher level.
Okay, okay, got it. And we are absorbing all the input price increases, right? Still.
Pardon me?
No, no, I'm saying that whatever the gas price increases and all that we have seen.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Understood. That's it from me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tanmay from Mira Asset. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again, sir. Sir, on the CapEx part that you referred to, the assets part of 700 crores, out of that, what would be used for the captive consumption? If you could just give a rough number. And what would be for the final sale and the growth CapEx and captive utilization, if you could just break that.
Okay. We start with the ammonia, which is on the upstream. So, ammonia should get substantially consumed. More out of 50,000 ton, we expect the kind of production levels which we have, it should absorb practically 80% of the ammonia when we start on the other two new products. Nitric acid as well as ammonium nitrate. As far as nitric acid is concerned, we have concentrated nitric acid which is coming up somewhere next year by March 22, which will consume from the existing pie around 50,000 tons of weak nitric acid. So out of 100,000 which we are planning, 50,000 will be served there, and another 50,000 will be meant for further down usage into the ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate, while we have a capacity planned for around 100,000, it should consume weak nitric acid to the extent of around 0.8. So around 80,000. So on a net basis, it looks like we will have to go for little more than what we have planned as of now. But these are at an advanced level of discussion as to what level of nitric acid plant we need to bring, whether 100,000 or 200,000.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Raghavendra Kedia from MH Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My question is regarding TDI. Sir, can you please enlighten us on how much is GNFC's market share?
Sorry to interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
So please stay connected. The line for the management has been disconnected. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay connected while we rejoin the management back to the call. Participants, please stay connected while we rejoin the management back to the call.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. The line for the management is reconnected. So you may go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon. My question is regarding TDI. Sir, if you can enlighten us on how much is GNFC's market share for the entire Indian market. And we have seen that this market share is gradually increasing, where the unorganized and smaller players are at slowly getting a lesser market share. So if you would know or can also share how much is the unorganized smaller participants market share for the TDI market?
Would you like to? No, please, sir. Question is on the market share of TDI, 70%?
Yeah, it is 70% the domestic demand.
Mm-hmm. And would you know how much is from the 30%, how much is unorganized and smaller players?
No, it is not audible clearly.
Unorganized players, what is their market share?
No, we are the only manufacturer in India of TDI. Balance is import.
Yes. Okay. Just a follow-up question. Do you see any more import duty hike in the next quarter or in the next 2-3 quarters on TDI coming from the government?
Not really.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. A request to all the participants. Please restrict to one question per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. The next question is from the line of Pawan Nahar, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Parikh, I had a few questions. One was that our gross block is about 8,000 crores. Or before that, sorry, we are doing new capex. So generally, when we do capex, what is the kind of payback we expect?
Okay. We have internal guidelines about payback and IRR. We look forward to about 12 to 14% post-tax IRR and payback of around 7 to 8 years. There are internal guidelines. However, we do take deviation depending upon the positioning of the project. There could be strategic aspects to the projects whereby we may compromise on this kind of benchmarks.
Okay. And when you say, capex, you are only talking about project costs. You are only talking about gross block and not working capital, right? When you say that 7 to 8 years or 12 to 14% post-tax IRR, how do you define the project cost? Do you include working capital?
Yes, it includes.
Okay. So if I were to just ask you, for simplicity's sake, without working capital, how would this number change?
Okay. As far as capex number is concerned, the number will not change. However, for the purpose of calculation of IRR, the numbers will change because it will have working capital margin as well factored.
Sure. So it will improve?
Yeah, it has to improve. No, it will improve, meaning the IRR we calculate is after considering, let's say, 1,100 crores of project. Okay. And in terms of cash outgo, the margin on working capital is also considered. So when it comes to the general public, when they look at the balance sheet, they will see a net addition of 1,000 plus crore on the fixed asset side.
Right.
Whereas if you look at the cash side of it, it will generate an IRR of in the range which we indicated.
Okay. So second, just to continue on this, today our gross block, fixed assets gross block is about 8,000 crores. Is my understanding right that ballpark 6,000 crores is relating to chemicals, and out of that 6,000, ballpark 3,000 crores is relating to TDI?
TDI 2 is the carved out capex as such. If you look at internally in the books of account, and TDI 2 is close to around 2,300 crore in terms of the gross block.
Yes, one of them.
It includes everything: land, plant and machinery, everything, equipments.
Sure. And if I were to aggregate TDI 1 and 2, some approx number, it doesn't really, just approx.
TDI 1 is not carved out, so no immediate idea. Okay. If you still want to know, we can get back on it. TDI 1 is a 2-decade-older plant, so no exact immediate idea about the capex, net capex, which you are asking for. Okay.
Thank you very much, and sorry to interrupt you, Pawan sir. I'll request you to come back in the question queue. A request to all the participants, please restrict to one question per participant so that all the participants get a chance to answer their questions. The next question is from the line of Rishabh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thanks for the opportunity. I got only one question. Your MD has gone recently on record on CNBC interview that next 22 and 23 our volumes will go up by 20% and 30-40%, and margins will be maintained 20-25%. These two things I want to clarify. This is on overall sale, including fertilizer. The sales will be going up, and margin this is blended or on chemicals. Thank you.
Okay. Margin improvement is something which is futuristic, so we not only restrict ourselves in terms of stretching ourselves too much into that direction. So we give this question a pass.
So I am asking what is your MD has gone record, sir. Same thing, I am just clarifying. I am not asking something guidance. It is already on record in public domain. That is what I am just clarifying.
So you are right, but the current quarter is still on, and therefore we cannot comment exactly on that.
Okay, regarding volume growth, all that, sir, next 2 years?
Volume growth, there are certain debottlenecking which is happening, which in fact has happened in both aniline and ethyl acetate. Okay, we are not putting exactly the numbers as of now. Let the quarter pass by, and then we'll come back with the exact numbers of debottlenecking, which is contributing additionally to the turnover and profit.
I hope, sir, this what we are conducting, this is the call after so many years. I don't remember when we have conducted. In due course, post results, every time call will be conducted, sir.
We are trying to regularize. We are trying to be in touch with investors. Last call happened, if I recall correctly. In fact, the conference happened somewhere on 9th or 10th of July 2018. And after that, we are connecting for the first time.
And we hope to remain connected on quarterly basis, on regularly in the coming.
Yeah, that is my request, sir. So this practice keep as a regular every after result, post results, we will get opportunity to clarify our doubts, all that. And one more request, sir, along with result, if you give some presentation about the company with some facts, figures, production, sales, all that, that will be more helpful.
We note this suggestion and we'll try to cover that.
And what will be our tax rate, sir, this year? It will be around 27, 28%.
It's a normal corporate tax close to 35% now. Last year we were under the MAT, which is no more there with the kinds of profitability we have. We have used practically most of the MAT credit available. Since we have one more year to go for the infrastructure benefit which we are getting under Section 80I of Income Tax Act, we will continue with the present regime of regular taxation of close to 35% for another year. And thereafter we will think of between the options which are given by Government of India last year, between around all topped up 25% versus 35%.
Thank you. A request to all the participants, we restrict to one question per participant. The next question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. With respect to TDI, we are hearing all these capacity shutdowns which have happened globally. If you could help us understand the status of these capacities and when, in your opinion, when should the supply normalize for TDI? And what is the extent of these global disruption in capacity, if you could help us?
Yeah. There are a series of shutdown lined up now onwards. BASF is planning shutdown, BASF Germany, of their 3 lakh metric ton plant. And this will be followed by Covestro's 3 lakh metric ton plant. There are certain shutdowns planned in Korea also, Hanwha Corporation. So these shutdowns are planned over a period of next 3 to 4 months. And at the same time, the Chinese plants have come up again to their normal operation rate. So we have to really observe the effect of these shutdowns in due course of time. But we expect that the price which is prevailing nowadays will sustain for another 3-4 months at least.
Just a continuation, what is the net capacity which is now out of supply?
Yeah, out of 33 lakhs ton capacity, around 4 lakhs ton capacity are out at present.
Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Overall, in the world.
Sorry, sir, to interrupt you. I'll request the next participant. The next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Sunidhi Securities and Finance. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. So we being a state controlled enterprise, what is our incentive policy and how do we nurture and retain our talent? Thank you.
Okay. See, most of the government of Gujarat promoted companies have similar structures. Okay. And it is driven by a normal standard pay package, and those pay packages are revised at the time of every long-term settlement. And this is the kind of practice which most government of Gujarat company follows. And so far we have not seen issues in nurturing our people. Our people have been with us for more than 3 decades. Okay, things might change with the change of time, but then we will structure ourselves accordingly in that case.
Right. And sir, second question is on the capacity available for us for FY22 and FY23. So you mentioned that in FY21 there was 11% loss of yearly production and we are operating at 100%. So will there be any volume growth expected in FY22 and FY23 given that our capex plans will culminate only sometimes towards the end of FY22? Thank you.
Okay. There are a couple of things as far as capacity addition is concerned. Like we said, debottlenecking plan of TDI-2 will materialize somewhere in next financial year. Formic acid, the brownfield expansion is going to materialize somewhere in next financial year. Concentrated nitric acid is going to be operational by March 22, around a year down the line. Apart from that, we have certain debottlenecking which has already happened. So that will see certain marginal volume growth in aniline as well as ethyl acetate in time to come. So this is what we have as of now on table, and there are further capex plan, but which will have its own gestation time.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Namaskar, sir. Sir, my first observation is about this DIPAM policy, sir. Although I think so the state PSUs doesn't fall in the ambit, but the way the things are articulated by the government of India in rewarding the investors in dividend payout, buybacks and other measures, that should be contemplated with by other state PSUs also. So it's a request on the part of investors that the key constituents of the DIPAM policy must be studied by the board and its applicability also on the Gujarat-based companies that fall under the state PSUs. That's a humble suggestion from my side. Hope the board looks into it. And hello.
Yes, sir. We are listening to you.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. So I just got an information. Sir, again, sir, you spoke about the factors that will create a new normal for the prices of products. So, are the shutdown being the only factor that will create the new normal? By that, sir, what are you trying to explain us, and how long this new normal is going to be, as being said by you?
As Parikh told you earlier, that the prices are anybody's guess actually in chemical industry. But the way all things are developing, that is why the new normal level will be attained by some of the products. And new normal means it will remain plus or minus either side by 20% or so.
Right, sir. And on the raw material basket, sir, how is that shaping up? And you have told that there are inflationary pressures. So how much are we vertically integrated in terms of our raw material requirement, and what steps are we taking in that purpose, sir?
Okay. Raw material in general, if we talk about oil, toluene, benzene are definitely going up. Okay, but then it's an interplay between output prices and input prices as well as demand supply position at a particular point in time. So far we have been, over the years we have been in a position to wither away such kind of headwinds, and we hope to maintain such position in time to come as well. As far as de-risking part is concerned, to insulate ourselves completely from the price rises, there is a strategy from risk management cell to broaden the supplier base, which we have of late done in case of certain products, which has given benefit both in case of gas procurement as well as other products.
Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt this. I'll request you to come back in the question queue. The next question is from the line of Ram Kishan from Equity Intelligence. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Sir, we are doing some expansion in ammonia, and because of that, our TDA2 plant also expected to go up. So I think I understand that we have TDA2 capacity of 50,000 tons per annum. So how much it will go up? And TDA1 we used to operate 15,000 ton. We used to operate around 120-130% capacity utilization in the past. So TDA2 also, can we go to that level?
Okay. First of all, ammonia will not have a direct impact on TDI2. TDI2 consumes concentrated nitric acid in its process, which is sourced from Bharuch. And
Okay.
concentrated nitric acid is made up from ammonia. So there is a link like this. As far as production increase is concerned, like we indicated, it is going to be in the range of around 30 metric ton per day at TDI2. So you may expect around 12,000-15,000 tons, depending upon when it actualizes, to what extent it debottlenecks. At the same time, it will have a good amount of reliability because of the new equipment and parallel equipment being put up at the plant. So benefits will be in terms of reliability as well as production increase, both.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vinay from Alliance Bernstein Holding. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for your time today. I just have one question, and probably on your balance sheet. So if I remember correctly, you mentioned about 1,000 crores of net cash today. And with the kind of business humming along, the prices and the demand, I presume we would be continuously generating cash flows going forward. Just wanted to understand your cash allocation policy, given that now we have a much stronger balance sheet.
Okay. We are thinking about going further down into the new projects which are being evaluated, apart from 1,000-1,200 crore or kind of investment we are talking about. We are actively thinking about a few other lines of business. The current constraint which we are facing is on the technology tie-up front, because most of the time the technology is closely guarded and we are finding it very difficult. Like in past, we have narrated some of the issues on sourcing the technology of acetic acid. So although the products might be promising, we are trying hard first to freeze upon the technology part. Once that happens, we can meaningfully utilize our cash, and therefore we are quite aggressive on this kind of new product, focusing on the new products for new projects.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, we will take the last question from the line of Vikram Sharma from Nivesha Investment Advisory. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, sir. Sir, what is the major raw material for acetic acid?
Acetic acid, we use methanol as well as special denatured spirit, SDS we call it, for manufacturing acetic acid.
Okay. And is there any pressure on raw material side for acetic acid?
Myself, it is methanol. SDS is into being ethyl acetate. I stand corrected.
It is methanol plus carbon dioxide gas, which is
Monoxide. Carbon monoxide.
carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, as well as some hydrogen, which is basically we call syngas. But major consumption is methanol.
So cost of raw material is same, or there is any price pressure for cost of raw material?
Yes, for the NG part, natural gas part, normally at times there is a price pressure because we have to compulsorily operate that plant. We call it methanol 2 plant capacity. at least for catering to the acetic acid to the tune of around 250 metric ton per day.
Or is there any shortfall in market in India for acetic acid, or what is current pricing scenario for acetic acid?
Acetic acid, the total market size in India is more than 1 million ton. Okay, and we are just a 15% player in terms of production and 10% player in terms of the market size.
Okay.
Regarding the pricing, I request our senior marketing people to respond on that.
Pricing in India, because majority of the consumption in India is met through import, it depends on the international price. And international price depends on demand supply as well as methanol price. Methanol price, in fact, very direct relation with the natural gas price. So this is the link as far as price is concerned. And we have to sell our products on import parity price.
So current right now there is a shortfall in market. What is current market scenario?
Yeah, right now since few weeks, because of the delay in parcels, there was a short-term temporary shortage, but now the things are improving. Parcels are coming now.
Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Due to time constraint, that was your last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for active participation and making this con call meet a grand success. We extend our special thanks to the coordinator and the arrangers of this con call meet. Thank you everyone. Thanks again.
We thank you everybody once again.
Bye.
On behalf of GNFC.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Batliwala and Karani Securities India Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.